All right, there we go. Welcome to the show, Priscilla.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So, how's it feel being on the podcast with us?
I'm nervous, but I like to talk, so I think I'll be okay. But yeah, I am nervous. This is the first time I've ever done something like this, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. So, how did you feel when we initially invited you on the show?
I felt honored. I was like, wow, boring old me, like little old me, like sure, that'd be great. Of course, and I'm sure we'll get into it later, but with my profession, I had to get permission, make sure everything was okay. And here we are a couple months later.
Yeah,
And
no kidding.
yeah, but I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it.
Cool. So what do you do, if you don't mind?
I actually work for the government. I'm a federal probation officer. Um, I've been doing that about a year and a half. Prior to coming onto the federal system, I worked for the state, for TDCJ, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and I was a parole officer. So I did that for almost 11 years. And that I learned a lot. Never a
Wow.
dull moment, never a boring moment. Always,
Wow.
never boring.
Wow, that's crazy. So I assume you have to have like some kind of like degree or something to enter into that field.
Yes, I know they usually require, even with my job now, require a bachelor's degree of any sort. My degree is in criminal justice. Um, I have a bachelor's degree. I got that in 2008. Um, so yeah, I don't have a master's degree. I know in my field, it kind of depends where you work. It could benefit you. It could not. I'm sure in the future if I ever come up for a promotion, if somebody has a master's degree, I'm sure they'll, get it over me. At
Yeah.
this point, I haven't gotten one, maybe in the future.
Wow, man, that's awesome. So criminal justice was that in
Mhm.
your initial pathway in your education? It was.
Yeah, it was. I actually wanted to become an attorney.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah, so I didn't, I know with some people's journey through college, they switch majors, they
Yeah,
kind of see what's out. I mean, how are you supposed to know what you want to do when you're 17, 18 years old, But
absolutely.
I wanted to be an attorney actually until my last year of college. I actually studied, took the LSAT, did all that, and then I worked with attorneys, and I was like, I don't think this is for me. I don't know if I want the debt. I don't know if I, want the stress. So I realized it wasn't for me. I never thought I would do this job though.
Wow, that's so crazy. So you assumed that you had to take out some debt and before to continue that. So you're like, nah, that's okay. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
3 years of law school. Yeah, I'm sure it's pricey.
yeah, for sure. So did you have any loans for your bachelor's degree?
I actually got a loan my very last year.
Mm,
I started out at Del Mar. So I started at Del Mar. I did, I think about 2 years there. I paid my way when I was at
mm,
Del Mar. At one time, I worked three jobs.
amazing.
So yeah, I was like, I'm gonna try to pay as much as I can. Um, I was never really pushed to get education. Like my parents are not bad people, but they were just kind of like, do whatever, like whatever you want to do, like we'll support you. So I kind of had to do it on my own.
Right.
So when I saw an advisor and I realized like how much school was, the books, and I'm like, well, I think I could do it. I think I could do it. So I tried to pay as much as I could, as far as I could. And then towards the last semester, I'm like, okay, like I need help.
Wow,
It's at the
amazing.
university level. So of course it's more expensive. Well worth it though.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So that's a major work ethic for sure. Three jobs. Were you going full time at the same time?
Yeah, I was, and one of my
No.
jobs was full time. I was actually a bank teller, and I think anybody who's in college, like that is such a good college job. Like I loved it. You go in, you're out by like 6:15, 6:30. You lock up your money, you put it away. The bank I worked at was I worked in like the drive-through, so they would be like, "Yeah, you can bring your homework. If we're slow, you can do it." I mean, they're not in front of you, so it's okay. So it was that was very helpful.
Wow, 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 awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So were there like misconceptions of people that you would see at the bank like have so much money or something, like, you know what I mean? because my wife used to work at one, and she's like, man, there used to be this guy, he looked poor and he had a whole bunch of money. Do you see
E-
that at all?
Even in my job now, like you literally cannot, like I do not judge, like
Mm,
but yeah, I mean, we would see so many like business owners, people who
mm.
would come through and it's like, dang, they're doing really well. Stuff like that. But of course, it's confidential. We keep it to ourselves, but we're
Yeah, right
silently
on.
like, dang.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, so I was researching on YouTube. I always research on YouTube, and I was
Mhm,
researching parole officer,
mhm,
and I came upon this channel where they were giving parole officers like a bad rep. Did you
mhm.
get that at all when you were
Oh,
work?
for sure. For sure. At Walmart, I've been called names.
Wow,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
wow,
it's,
that's so. Why? I
yeah.
mean, do you mind talking? Do you mind me asking, like, why is that? Like, why would people do that to the parole officer?
Um, I think because like we're like the bad guy, like
Mm.
we locked up your family member. We did, and
Uh,
yeah, I mean, we're doing our job. Um, it's not, a click of a button and somebody goes to jail. Like we have to be able to prove, why this person is being put in jail. I mean, that's expensive. We have to
oh,
be able to prove to it, with parole we would deal with a board, so it's a little bit different. We didn't do like court judges, anything like
mm,
that. Ours is through a board. So whenever somebody, like let's say somebody's on parole, they pick up a violation, um, we go through a hearing process, and there's a board representative there. They're not on my side, they're not on the parolee side, they represent the board, and they're going to make the determination if that person is going to get out, that person's
mm,
going to stay in, if they're
mm,
going to go back to prison, if they're going to go to like a sanctioned facility.
mm,
So, we have to be able to say, this is what happened, and here's my proof.
mm,
Words from your mouth mean nothing. If
mm,
it's not documented, it didn't happen. And that's just
there's
my motto, even now with my job, and that's something I learned. I became a parole officer in 2010.
mhm,
And I had, no, I did like an internship in college, totally different. I worked with the city attorney's office. So it was different. But I didn't know anything about, the system, prison. I mean, I had some family members, that, back in the day that
yeah,
went,
yeah,
but it's all stuff from the outside. It's different when you're actually working in the field. So
for
I
sure.
learned a lot. I mean, and that was one of the things, one of the first mentors I had told me, like, if it's not documented, it didn't happen.
Wow. So
So you need to make sure you document everything.
yeah, no kidding. So what are some of the things that you learned? I mean, is it like personal stuff that you learned about yourself, or I mean,
Probably both. More just like how to, first of all, not to judge. That's
mhm,
that's a big thing with me. Sometimes people come in and they're like, I know I look like a bad person, or like I'm the black sheep of my family. Like I wasn't raised like this, and I'm like, hey, I'm not judging you at all.
mhm,
Like we all make mistakes. Some of us just don't get caught.
mhm,
Like nobody's perfect. Um, I'm here to help you get through this and to get you to where you don't end up back here.
mhm,
So I learned a lot of compassion. I mean, I know
mhm.
that's like I said, we're the bad guys, so
Right.
it's hard, so not, and this is not everybody. This is my experience.
Mm,
Everybody is different. I'm more, I would say it's weird because I'm not really a patient person, but when it comes to work, I am one of the more patient people. If somebody's reaching out to me because they're going through something, I
mm,
will make time for them. If that means I have to work late, if that means like, oh, I had lunch plans, but I guess I'm not going to lunch, like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna help
mm,
you to get through this and to learn, how to cope with things, and I'm not perfect. Like I have problems too,
yeah.
but it's so crazy. Like as a parole officer, probation officer, it's like you're also like a counselor, sometimes like a babysitter, like some,
Yeah.
it's like you hold all different kinds of jobs, just
Yeah.
because there's so much that can come up. Like I can write a book. Like I have seen and heard so much. Like we always used to say that at when I worked for parole. Like we can get together and write like a
Yeah.
prize, an
Y'all should.
award-winning
You
book.
should, for real. You should, for real.
So yeah,
People
I
will
mean,
read it.
it's just taught me a lot how to work and deal with different kinds of people. Like, because it's
Mm.
not just the person we're dealing with. We're dealing with their families, their kids. We're dealing with them um,
Hmm.
having mental health issues, drug addicts. When
Mm.
they're on drugs, they're a totally different person.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, and it's kind of a thankless job, but there are
Mhm.
those, moments where somebody tells you like, I appreciate you, or thank you
Mm.
for doing that, or, so
It's like,
that's
yeah.
awesome when it happens.
That's cool. Yeah, like you
Yeah.
actually put in the extra effort, and when somebody notices that, it's helpful.
Yeah. Wait, I mean, I try. Sometimes, there's no resources or it's
Hmm.
funding, stuff like that. There are some, sometimes there's some challenges.
Yeah, so it is like a, like, not like a private company job. It's like a public job, right?
Yes, it's a state. Parole was a state agency, and now I work for the federal government system.
So for the actual government, okay, okay.
Hmm.
So the state of Texas, you work for the state of Texas, and now you work
I
for
did.
you. So now for the United States.
Yes.
Okay, and that's as
Hmm.
a probation officer.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you made the shift after 11 years.
Hmm. It was almost 11 years. I was like a few months short
Okay.
of 11 years, but yeah, it was a tough transition.
Yeah. So
um,
were you like in it, like, okay, I'm gonna do this for 10 years? Like, did you think that way, or was it just, I mean, you know?
yeah, towards towards when I was gonna hit my 10 years, I started thinking like,
Mm,
I think I want to do something different. Um, And I know for somebody from the outside looking in, it's kind of like, well, that's like the same thing. And it's the same population that I work with, but it is different. Like now, the federal system, it is a lot more strict. It's more, I do have to go to court now, which is something that I struggle with, and I probably always will.
why do
And
you
that's something
struggle with
I
that?
was it's you get very nervous. The
Okay.
judges, they can ask you
Crazy.
anything they want. And you have to be, if you think you're prepared, prepare some more.
Oh, shoot.
um so it's just something, the judges just don't come down on the clients. They come down on everybody. Like, you need to know your stuff. But I am I consider myself a preparer.
Right.
I'm like I make a to-do list. Like, I'm one of those kind of
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
That's what works for me. So I try to be as prepared as possible, and that's all we can do. And if you don't know something, say I don't know. Don't lie or try to make up something, because that's just going to get you in more trouble.
Golly, that's a lot. Wow. Okay, so you're like
Yeah.
prepared, prepared, like, paperwork wise, like, you have to know, like, the, I guess you have to know the laws that are behind whatever they're trying to do or whatever. How's that work?
Um, Knowing, like, for me, because I do, so in the federal probation system, there's different jobs within there. So my job is supervision. So I actually supervise clients out in the community. I have a pretty large area that I supervise. So on my end, it's more of like knowing the history of my clients, like knowing, have
Mm,
they been sent back before? Do they have a drug history? Do they have mental health issues? Do they have family support?
mm,
However, on the other side, there's another job, within my field. They do like the pre-sentence writing. So they're the ones who investigate, send in a report to the judge, and basically are there for sentencing. So they have to be a little bit more familiar with like the laws and
mm,
guidelines with how much time somebody might potentially get sentenced.
mhm,
My job is more dealing with the clients, going to their houses, going to their works, calling their family, knowing about them. So I do try to get to know them, and I do care. I
mm.
do. I'm not just asking them to be nosy. I mean, there are some things I have to ask because I have to. But
Right.
if they tell me, my son's been going through this, or I've been going through this, my son, well, what can we do? Like, is there anything I can help you with, that so we
Mhm.
can work through this? Because in the end, all of these things are going to affect you. and I want to make sure you get through this, as easy as possible and
Wow.
successfully complete this. And I never want to see you again because that means you're going on with your life and,
Yeah.
and getting past this.
Wow. So how do you get obviously you get like you can get emotionally involved, and like at the end of the day or week or whenever something is over, like how do you deal with that, like
It's
personally?
hard. Yeah, it really is. And I know like I said, not everybody's like me.
Mm-hmm.
I work a certain way. But it is hard, sometimes at the end of the day, I'm like worried about somebody from that happen. I've had clients, die on me. I've had
Oh.
people, older clients die of old age. I've had people overdose. I've had people murdered. Like
Mm.
it's really sad. I mean, no matter what, I always, and it's sad because, some of the people come out on the news or they come out on Facebook and just reading the
Mm-hmm.
comments, it's like, well, that's what he gets because
Oh, come on.
he was a drug addict, or that's what it's like, you know what? That's somebody's like dad, that's somebody's son. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have to like turn it off. I have to
Yeah.
like scroll because I'm like, you don't know. Like, and I think it's also like, um, because I was raised, like my dad was an alcoholic when, growing up. So I've seen somebody deal with addiction. He's going to be sober for 12 years this year.
Yeah.
So I'm very
Congrats.
proud of him. Thank you. But I guess it's also different because I've seen it firsthand, addiction, and um, it's not that easy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, well, he deserved it. He's a drug addict. Yeah, but did anybody help him? Did he want to get help? Did he
Right.
go through a rehab? Like,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and sometimes they don't want help, and sometimes and that's
Mm-hmm.
you can't help somebody who doesn't want it, but if they are willing to, like, I'm willing to help you as
Mm-hmm.
much as I can.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good, man. Congrats to your
Mhm.
pops on 12 years, man. Gosh.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
I'm
you
so
saw
proud of him.
so you saw a major change. You saw both.
Yeah.
Wow, what was that like?
It was at first it was like unbelievable.
Wow, okay.
I was like, is he this was yeah, I mean, I was in my 20s. I was like, okay, I've seen it before. Like, let's
Mhm.
see if he sticks with it, and
Mm.
he said himself, like, I am tired of this. Like, and he says it himself, it was me. Like, I had to make the change. I had to know, like, I'm done with this. And he's
Mhm.
like, no matter how many times, I hurt somebody or I went to jail, or it doesn't matter. Like, I needed to do it. So
Wow.
I understand that, although I haven't, battled with that myself.
Mhm.
Um, I believe it does help me to work with people who are struggling.
Mhm.
And of course I can't be too personal in my job and like sit there and tell them my story,
Right on.
or my dad's story, because it's not my story to tell. But
Mhm.
it's like I understand, like, and that's what I kind of try to tell them, like, if they're dealing with something like that, I'm like, think of those around you. Like, you're not
Mhm.
going through this alone. Like, you're also affecting your kids, like your dad. I mean, I've had people get out from being locked up and they're like, I lost both of my parents and I didn't even get to say bye.
Wow.
I was in the system.
Wow,
And it's
tough.
like, okay, well, what are you going to do that way that doesn't happen with your other family members? Like, what are we going to do to keep you out so you don't have to feel that pain
Right, right.
again? You know?
Yeah. So
Um,
do y'all help them like find resources for that stuff, or can you, or is it like just suggestions at that point?
um, it depends. Some of them have, certain conditions. Therefore, we can help with,
Mhm.
the funding towards
Mm.
it. We do have some resources locally that we can send them to, that we can use. There's quite a bit, some good stuff. Of course, sometimes there's a wait time,
Mm.
but we understand. I mean, not everything's going to be,
Yeah, for
when we want
sure.
it. So it kind of teaches all of us patience. But if they really want the help, it's there, and we can help as much as we can.
Mm.
Like I say, in the end, it's going to be up to you. I can't be with you
Yeah.
24 hours a day, so it's going to be like, what are you going to do on your own time?
Yeah.
um, and
Yeah,
I run into that sometimes because clients, they call my phone, they text me on the weekends, and I'm like, hey, like, I don't have an exciting life, but I do have a life outside of here. So sometimes I'll respond, sometimes I won't.
That's
And they're
funny.
usually like, I'm sorry, like I should have thought about it, or I wanted to make sure I didn't forget. And I'm like, that's fine. Just know that
Mm.
like I'm not gonna respond to you right away
Yeah,
sometimes.
man. God, it's got to be tough.
You know
It's got
me,
to
on
be
the
tough.
weekends, I'm at the local market. So
Yeah, so I was gonna bring that up. So you're not known for all this stuff that we're talking about locally, I don't think. So
mm-mm.
you're on IG a lot, on Instagram a lot, and you're always going to the local. You're always supporting local. What's up with that?
Yeah. That is like my favorite thing to do. I love it. I've been going to markets for a while actually. I just like it. You know, I work hard for my money and I want to give my money to the community like if I
Hmm.
can. You know, of course I'm not going to say I don't shop at Target and I don't go on Amazon like I do.
Yeah, right.
But if there's something, especially with gifts, like um I every time I give my friends gifts, they know like, oh, it's gonna be from somebody local. Like I already know it's gonna be. A lot of my friends are like, oh, I know I'm getting earrings. They already know that like I'm all about the earrings. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I try to do that. I try to say like, oh, like this is from this local maker, and then they'll be like, oh, cool. I'm gonna see what else they sell, and just try to get the
Hmm.
word out. Just
Yeah.
because that money goes back into our community, and like
Right.
I love Corpus. Like I of course, when I was in college, I don't think I mentioned it, but I went to college in San Antonio.
Hmm.
So I didn't really love Corpus until I moved away, and I was like, I actually miss it. Like, what, what's up with that? Like, I
Yeah.
miss the smelly water.
Yeah. Exactly.
You miss it when you leave, or I did. And people would be like, "Oh, you're from the coast," and like it would sound all
Right.
all like tropical, and I'm like, "Oh, that's not what you think," but you know that's how they know it over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, everybody, "Oh, you're from the coast," and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, the green
Yeah. The
smelly
green
water,
water.
okay," but you know it's home.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I was born and raised here, so it's home, and I love it. I love supporting local businesses. If it's not something that I'm into, I'll think like, who can I buy that for? You know, I have a lot of close friends. I have a group of, you know, my best friends, and I'll try to like support everybody or as much as I can. And like I
Yeah.
said, even if it's not for me, I'll be like, oh, so and so will like that. Let me get it for her, or you know,
Right.
just to try.
That's cool. So it's like you're supporting you love the city, and that's one way that you can support the city by
Hmm.
putting money back into it. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm not creative. I, I tell the local makers, I'm like, I am not creative. I could
Hmm.
never do the things you do. Y'all are awesome.
Hmm.
So my way of supporting is just to get the word out. I share on
Hmm.
Instagram. I'll buy if I buy something, I'll share it.
Yeah.
Buying gifts because I I will never be able to create cool stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. So, yeah, so yeah, you were the one of the first persons that that I gave shirt to, and
Hmm.
you're like, shoot, yeah, come on. So we met somewhere, and then I gave you, and then
Uh-huh.
ever since then, you've always been like shouting us out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you doing that? So that's pretty cool. We really appreciate that.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate you. I remember when you reached out to me and I'm like, well, I want to pay him. Like I feel bad. And I think we met at like Kohl's parking lot, and like
Hmm.
I know for other people that might be weird, but like I'm used to going to people's houses, their works, like everywhere. So I'm like, yeah, I'll meet you. It's cool. Like, and then I turned around and I bought my best friend a shirt. I bought my dad the cap. He loves the cap.
Yeah.
And I just kind of try to spread the word, and
Yeah.
I appreciate you with that merch.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're welcome. So your dad likes Rush a lot.
Hmm.
So is that one of the reasons why you got into like heavy music when you were younger?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's favorite band is Rush. He actually so my favorite all-time band is Pantera. Everybody
Mm.
who knows me knows that. I
Mhm.
actually have them tattooed on my body. They're the only band I have tattooed on me.
It's funny.
Um, yeah, I always say they're the only band worthy. Um, but yeah, so I actually first heard Pantera because of my dad.
Wow.
He had the Cowboys from Hell CD, and
Wow.
during I think it was about early high school. I lived with my dad actually.
Mm.
So he was kind of like, ah, just do whatever. Like, don't,
Mm,
I trust you. Like, you're a good kid. Like, I was never bad. I wasn't like, the perfect child, but
yeah.
he's like, it's cool. Like, he never, like, he was like, listen to the music. Like, it's not going to make you, how some people are like, oh my God, like, don't listen to that music. It's going to make you bad. I listen to Marilyn Manson. I listen
Yeah.
to all that. But yeah, Rush, Black Sabbath. He took me
Hmm.
to see Black Sabbath when I was
Wow.
13.
Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was one of my first I've been going to concerts since I was 12, but that was one of my first ones, Pantera and Black
Mm.
Sabbath.
Nice.
And I went with him, and we saw Black Sabbath a couple years ago. They had the End tour or whatever.
Okay.
So we went and we saw Kiss, and
Hmm.
it's something we share. It's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it makes me think of because I have my daughter. She's 6, and like
Uh,
yeah, so it makes me think of like how much I will be an influence on her and the stuff that she'll like. Uh,
for sure.
yeah. So that's awesome. Yeah. So you grew up in Corpus. Which schools did you go to?
I went to Prescott Elementary.
Hmm.
It's no longer there. I went
Oh,
to Cunningham Middle School, which is also not there. I
it's
think
not.
they moved it or something. The building's still there, but it's something else. And then I was supposed to go to Moody, but I moved with my dad when
Mm,
high school was starting, and I went to Ray.
hmm.
But I kind of wanted to go to Ray, so it was cool. I really liked it. So yeah, I just
Yeah.
went to those three schools. I never, switched or anything. Late in high school, I actually moved with my mom. She was living in Robstown, but I was
Hmm.
already going to be a senior and I was working already. I had my own car. So I was like, do I have to go to Robstown? Like, I'm
Yeah.
okay, like going to Ray. So she's like, if you want to drive every day, that's fine. So yeah,
Hmm.
so I just stuck with those schools. I
Wow.
remember my first day at Ray, I got lost. I didn't know anybody and I was not used to such a huge school. So
Right.
I got lost and then somebody was like, it's just a T. Like it's literally a
Yeah.
T. The hallway is a T. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And now that I think of it, I don't even know how I got lost. It was literally like,
Yeah. So
but
like the top, the third floor is the T, and then
mhm.
the more it gets to the bottom, it starts stretching out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I'm like, that's
Wow.
so embarrassing. But I mean, I think it was that and then
Hmm.
nerves, of course. I was
Yeah.
nervous. I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And
For
I
sure.
remember like I used to wear like the black and I was
Mm.
like into like the metal music and stuff and I still am. But
Hmm.
I remember my first day of school, there was like a gangster guy and he's like, "Oh, look at Marilyn Manson looking hot over here." And I was like, "I'm lost. Like leave me alone." It was so fun. I was like, "What?" I don't know. I just thought
Well,
of that. That was hilarious.
no, yeah, no, I went to yeah, that's awesome, man. I went to Ray for like 3 years, so I remember what it was like over there. Yeah, it was, and I played sports, so and it was
Oh,
always sports. Go to school, sports, and then go home. Like I would never hang out at school or nothing like that. So that's like all I knew for those 3 years.
yeah. What sports did you play?
I played football a little bit, mostly football, but track field. And that was
Hmm.
just those two. That was it. Yeah.
Cool. I've even to this day, I'm not, I always say I'm not athletically inclined. Like, I was in band and then I was on the dance team my last year. But yeah, I was in band in middle school and
Cool. What'd
high
you play?
school. So the clarinet.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, it magically disappeared. Like, I don't know what happened to it to this
Yeah.
day. I'm like, did somebody pawn it in my house or what happened to it? I guess. But yeah, it was fun. The football games and stuff were always
Yeah.
fun, pep rallies and it
Yeah,
was
for
cool. It was
sure.
a pretty big school.
Yeah, it is pretty big, and I like it because it's a mix of different cultures in one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I love
if you
that.
go there, you kind of learn the different because it's kind of
Mhm.
like a rich neighborhood on one side of Ray, and on the other side it's not so rich, and you get both of
Mhm.
those merged in one, so you get to learn both as you're going
Yeah.
there.
I was
Yeah,
definitely on the not so rich side.
yeah.
We'll just say that.
And then we
But
group together like, okay, you're over there and you're over,
like
which
after school,
sucks.
what direction are you walking?
Yeah, exactly.
Or are you getting in your own car and leaving? Which
Yeah,
I did
no.
have a car, but it's
Uh-huh.
only because I worked.
Hey, nice. So you paid for you bought your own car?
I bought my own car in high school. Yeah, I worked at Peter Piper Pizza. It's not there no
Nice.
more. It's where Dick's Sporting Goods is now. But
Okay.
yeah, there was my brother works in Port Aransas. He still works there to this day. He's probably been about 20 years, or more than 20 years.
Oh well.
But there was like a couple trying to get rid of '89 red Pontiac Firebird, and they wanted $500 for it,
Mm.
and they just wanted to get rid of it. So my brother, my dad called me right away. They're like, "Hey, we know you're looking for a car. Like this older couple just wants to get rid of it. Like if you can bring $500, they'll
Wow.
sell it to you." I was like, "Hell yeah!" So, and that
Yeah.
car was so good to me. Like it had
Yeah.
like the lights that would go up in front, and I remember one of them would get stuck, so I put like a screw. So I had like two screws. I would call it Frankenstein, to leave the light up, so it was like winking.
Yeah.
um, but
That's
I mean,
funny.
after like I was on the dance team, like I said, so sometimes we would have pep rallies, and then we'd have like a little break before we had to go and get ready to like go to the football game. So
Mm.
me and my friends would load up in my car and go eat. You know, when you're in high school, you eat like Mexican. You can eat whatever. Like
Yeah.
me, I wouldn't get sick or gain weight. Different now, but we would load up. I want to say I fit like 7 or 8 people in there one time. We went to the
Nice.
taqueria, and yeah, we were like going over the bump, and it was like scraping because it was so much weight. Uh,
That's
but
funny.
good times, good times. Yeah, I ended up
Yeah, for
selling
sure.
it. It lasted me a good maybe like 5 years, and I ended up
Wow.
selling it. I think I sold it for like 1,000. So it lasted me all the time, and I made profit.
Yeah. Totally different from the car you have now, huh?
Yeah, I have a Toyota.
Yeah, it was a lot. When you got the first one, it was old. Was it old, right?
Yeah,
So it
it was.
wasn't new. Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah, it
mean.
was at that point, yeah, I was probably like 13 years old, and the car I drive now is like about 2 or 3 years old. So I'm thankful.
Yeah, for sure. Nice. Yeah,
More
my car.
reliable.
Yeah, reliable. My car. When I got out of high school, it was three different colors. So like the back was like blue, the
Oh,
front was white, and the inside was red.
oh.
Oh my gosh,
But hey, it
that's
got you
crazy.
where you needed to go, right?
Yeah, it sure did. It had a
That's
tape player.
like,
It had a tape player. That's how old the thing was.
I think
So I
mine did too. I had like the
yeah.
adapter where you can put
Yeah, exactly. I had
the
that too.
CD or something.
Yeah, you hook it up to the headphones of the CD player, and that's how it get the sound. Man, so it makes me think about music.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
And
That's
I don't
awesome.
know, I am like older. I'm 37. So yeah,
Okay.
so people might be like listening to this and they're like, what? Like, dang,
No,
she's
it's all good.
ancient.
Yeah, no, it's all
But
good. Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, we
good times.
probably went to this. I'm 30, 38. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
I
39. I
graduated in
can't.
'03.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I think 01. I can't remember these things. I don't know why. It's like things I just can't remember. I don't know. It's weird.
I forget sometimes too. Like whenever all the like, when did you graduate college? When did you do this? I'm like,
Yeah.
hold on, like one at a time.
I'm like, let me get my resume. It has it on there, but I can't tell you off the top of my head.
Hey, that's smart. Carry your resume, take a picture of it, and put it on
Yeah.
your phone or something.
Yeah.
Man, the things we have to do when we get older, right?
Yeah. I was thinking about it. I was like, man, because there's a comedian. She calls herself an elder millennial, like one of the
Oh,
older,
wow.
like
I
yeah,
like
like one of
that.
the older millennials. Because when you think of millennials, you think of like 20s, I guess, and 25 or whatever. But we're still part of
Yeah.
the millennial spectrum, I guess, because we're born in a certain year or something.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
yeah, so we would be the the
yeah,
elder millennials.
the elder millennial. That's funny.
That's cool.
Cool. Yeah. So, yeah, I think. Let me see. I'm trying to look at my notes here. Yeah. Do you remember when Pantera was? They were at Craig's Record Factory doing a signing. You remember
I
that?
do remember that, and it's on. I wasn't there, but I have a Pantera. It's called the Pantera 3. The I had
Mm-hmm.
the VHS. That's how long ago I got it. I got it in
Yeah.
middle school, but I have the Blu-rays now, and it shows like a little. It shows all about their tour and
Mm-hmm.
backstage. It's cool. It's like 3 hours long, but one of the little clips is from Craig's Record
Yeah.
Factory, and
Yep. I
that's
remember that.
cool. But yeah, I wasn't there. And they actually came to Corpus. I want to say in '01, and I also missed that one. I think I had to work or something. I
Hmm.
was like, ah, but I did get to see him, like I said, in 1999.
Yeah, for sure. I think I seen him
Yeah,
like
one
maybe.
time.
Oh, so that's good. Shoot.
Yeah, you've seen
Yeah.
him multiple times, right?
Oh man, probably like 4 or 5 times. And it
That's
was like, yeah,
awesome.
they were one of the favorites. I like the Deftones. I know you like the Deftones
Me
also.
too.
And,
I've seen
and
them 5 times, about 5 times.
yeah, and I've been with them ever since like the original. Well, I wasn't like I heard the original album, the first one. Well, I think it was original, the Adrenaline.
Adrenaline, yeah.
That
That's
was the
the
first.
best one.
Yes, that's the
I
first
love
one, and then
it.
ever since then, I'm like, dude, everything is Deftones, everything.
And Chino
So
Moreno has like a multiple bands. He has one called
yeah,
Palms, Crosses. They both came to well, separately. They came to Brewster's and I saw it's like a different vibe, it's
he
mellow,
seems like he likes to
chill,
come.
but
He seems like he likes to come to Corpus a lot.
I
Whether it's with
know.
right, whether it's with Deftones,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they're one of my favorites. I've seen them probably about 5 times. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
about 5 times. I've
Not.
seen Corn
Mm-hmm.
about 5 times too. Slipknot. I've
Yeah.
been to hundreds of concerts, so that's like my favorite. That's one of my other favorite things to do. So
Yeah. So, are you going? You have any concerts that you're going to soon?
it's funny. I have one from September of 2020
Oh
that's
wow,
been getting rescheduled because of COVID, and that's
crazy.
Rashtein, that
Oh
German metal band.
yeah.
So it's supposed to happen in September of this year. It's in San Antonio,
Oh nice.
and it actually worked out because when they have, I think initially it was like on a Wednesday, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to get a room. Like I've tried the whole going to a concert, driving back after. Like I'm too old for that. Like I don't drink or anything like that.
Mm.
But I just get sleepy. Like
Yeah.
I can't do it. But now this year it's the date that they moved it to. It's on a Saturday, so
No. Right on.
that'll be good. At least I won't have to because I've done it. Go to
Yeah.
concert, drive home, and go to work the next day. Too old for that.
Yeah. I remember
But
I went to a concert with my folks a long time ago, and it was in I think it was in Austin or somewhere, but we couldn't find a place to stay
oh
because we
no.
were trying. They were trying to drive back. I think they were trying to drive back
Mhm.
after the concert, and we ended up sleeping in the suburban, like at some parking lot because we couldn't find a place to sleep.
Wow. That's
It was
concert
funny.
life right there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because you hadn't planned on staying, so you you
Yeah,
you didn't schedule a room. Yeah, I've
yeah.
I've thought of it a few
That's
times.
funny.
Went to one in Austin a couple of years ago, and I was already yawning at the concert. I'm like, oh, I have to drive home after this. And I was with my friend. She fell asleep. I was like, we're not gonna wake her up. Of course, after she's like, you should have woke me up. But I opened the windows. I was chewing gum. I was
Yeah.
like trying. I was like, never again. And it was Machine Head. So it
Oh,
was a
nice.
pretty wild show. But
Crazy.
I was like, I'm too tired and too old for this.
Yeah, right on, man. Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Mhm. I
And
appreciate it.
yeah, no, maybe it gives the people a chance to know kind of who you are because they see that markets a lot and stuff.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
have to be, private. About because of my job. Of course, like I said, I got
mhm.
permission to come on here, so I
Cool.
feel more comfortable talking about it. But as far as like posting, stuff, you'll
Yeah.
never see me really talk about. Maybe I'll say like at work or working, but
Right.
I'll never be too, just because it's confidential. I don't want to get in trouble. That's the last thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I value my job. I'm so grateful, for everything I've learned along the way. And so I appreciate you understanding whenever you ask me. And I'm like, it's not that I don't want to be on. I just need to make sure it's okay. And, I appreciate you being
Thank
patient
you.
with me and, letting me come on. Like I said, I'm just like a regular person. So I'm not like a
Yeah.
business owner. I'm not a musician, but that's what's great. Thank you for
Mhm.
what you do. Cause I feel like you're trying to get it out there to have, different people
Mhm.
on your show. I heard one of your recent episodes, you said you wanted to have a homeless person. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Like they're still
Yeah.
part of the community, like you said.
Yep.
Everybody has a story to tell. So so thank you for what you're
Yeah.
doing. It's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I didn't because when I'm talking to you now, you're not a business owner like a lot of people, but you're definitely a hard worker, and through the way what you're talking about, people can tell.
Thank
And
you.
and so that's something that that we can relate to too. Like, hey, we're hard workers down here. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I mean,
Corporate.
I was raised by a single mom, and
Yeah.
I've never seen otherwise. I mean, she worked her whole life. There was even a time where she was going to school, working, taking care of me and my brother. Like,
Hmm.
that's all I know. You know what I mean? So uh, it's just work ethic was like really big. My mom's like, you have to, get a job, go to do something. Like, don't
Right.
depend on anybody else. Like, do something for yourself, because that's in the end, like that's all we have.
Right. Yeah, for
And I'm
sure.
not a parent. I don't have kids, so I know it'd be different. But
Yeah.
that's just not for me. But
Mm.
um, I'm not against it. I'm just like, that's not me right now. So
Yeah.
so hard work is very important to me.
Yeah. It seems like that's a commonality too among our families down here, is that parents are separated or
Hmm.
divorced. We grew up like that.
Hmm.
Excuse me. Yeah. So that's definitely something that's common, and we can still make something of ourselves even though we grew up that way.
For
You know what I mean?
sure, yeah, for sure. Like, nothing's perfect, nobody's perfect. It's all in what you do,
Mm.
for yourself. It's you know I'm
Yeah.
not about that, like, poor me, like,
Yeah.
everybody has a story, like I said, and it's how we cope with what happens to us, and how we move forward and try to just do the best we can to give
Hmm.
ourselves, the life we deserve.
Yeah, for sure,
So,
man. That's awesome.
mhm.
Congratulations.
Thank
See,
you.
yeah, it's awesome. Okay. So, yeah, no, appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on. I'm trying to wrap up. My wife's going to be here in a minute with the kids, and it's going
Oh,
to get
cool.
loud
Tell
in
her
a
I said
minute.
hi.
Yeah. Oh, tell your honey we said hi too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
a shirt for me? He's like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Shoot.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for sending that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for posting the pic.
Appreciate
That was
it.
awesome. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks again for
Okay.
having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Do you want to share anything before we go?
No, I mean, my Instagram, I think you have it listed there, but I'm under Silly Priscilla. I'm just a regular girl.
Mm.
So you can follow me if you want. I mean, I'm not super excited. It's not super interesting, but yeah, I try to support local and just kind of share. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You're welcome. You're welcome. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.